We're at NRG Stadium in Houston at the Final Four. Tim Langlois alongside JP Chunga as Syracuse's season comes to a close with an 83-66 loss tonight to North Carolina. And JP, this was expected. UNC was double-digit favorites almost coming into this matchup, and we really did it in the end. It seemed like for SU, the points in the paint for North Carolina, 50-32. UNC just dominated inside.
And it was through Bryce Johnson and Kennedy Meeks, two players that were stars for this team throughout the year. And the big moment that I looked at was when Trevor Cooney, 7 minutes left in the game, he missed a three. It would have put Syracuse down by 9. They were down by 12 at that point, right as they were starting to make a run and the crowd was starting to get into it. On the other side of the ball, North Carolina comes back. They miss a couple shots. Kennedy Meeks gets an offensive rebound, and he puts it right back in. They're up 14. That was their undoing, the fact that they got destroyed in the paint, because shooting the three, North Carolina didn't shoot efficiently, but when they did make a shot, it was Marcus Page just being a cold stone killer. He destroyed Syracuse when they tried to get into a run by making some heartbreaking and desperationally long threes.
And North Carolina was just 4 for 17 from 3, and they still won by 17 points in this game.
It was soul-crushing when Marcus Page was able to get those threes after Leiden hits one, and Syracuse just couldn't find that rhythm.
And Syracuse did have a little bit of a surge in the second half, but the big thing was that North Carolina was able to fight right back and counterpunch those runs for Syracuse, which Gonzaga and especially Virginia did not do in the prior 2 games for Syracuse.
Well, what happened is that the press wasn't as effective. You looked at the way that Syracuse decided to make those situations. They were against teams that weren't as experienced going up and down. North Carolina loves the fast pace, and that's exactly what they got when they had the press on them. They broke it easily. They got into those 2v1 situations, and then they scored.
Well, certainly a tough way for the Syracuse season to end, but in it all, it was a Final Four run that was really not expected. The team barely made the tournament, thought maybe they're playing NIT games, and here they are at the Final Four. Here's what Michael Benninger, Trevor Cooney, and Malachi Richardson all tried to put into words what this season meant.
They got the message. I'm so proud of these guys. This team has been amazing to be a part of this year, and all the stuff we went through. And no team goes through what we went through this year, and to respond the way that we did coming into the tournament was amazing. And I wouldn't take back this run or my career for anything. To go out with this team is just, it means the world to me.
It's just been a great experience. I've been part of so many great teams, and this team right here, I can't rank them obviously because each team's different, but I really enjoyed myself my whole senior year with these guys, and from what's on the court to off the court, locker room talks, you name it. I've had a pretty awesome time this past year.
How long will it take now before you can look back and appreciate what you guys did here?
It's going to take a while. Losing hurts, especially to come so far after going through so much as a team. So this definitely hurts.
Malachi Richardson with the towel on the head. That kind of just shows the emotion of the Syracuse team. Frustrated after this loss, but although it was a successful season, you would probably say at the end of it all. Michael Benninger, I want to go back to him. Not one of his better games, 0 for 5 from 3. He's been the best player for Syracuse all season long. Trevor Cooney with 22 points tonight, but Michael Benninger really probably needed to be better if Syracuse was going to win this game.
Unexpected, like Drew Barrymore's split. Syracuse was unable to get things going for Michael Benninger, one of their 3 creators on offense. And I crunched the numbers. I looked at the way that he had played from the Sweet 16 on. He's been shooting around 32%. And from that moment, and you look at those numbers, that's not what they need. They need him to be able to score more offensively, to be efficient. He's become a volume shooter as the competition has gotten greater. And that just became Syracuse undoing in the end.
Now, after the game, Jim Boeheim had his press conference, and it seems to always be asked the retirement question. He said earlier this week on the Dan Patrick Show, I'm definitely coming back next year. You would think there would be no doubt in most people's mind, but you just got to hear this. Someone asked about it again at the post-game press conference. Take a listen.
Next question's in the second row toward the left.
Jim Bryan, Smith Houston Chronicle. What's it like for you personally to have this season end this close to the national championship after everything you've been through with the suspension this year? And the second part of that is, will you consider retiring, or how do you look at your future as a college coach?
Why do you guys always ask me that? Really?
Because you've had a rough season.
Did you ask Roy? Ask Roy. Make sure you ask Roy when he comes in, too. I haven't had a rough season. I had a great season. I don't think it was rough at all. I think it was, we had our ups and downs on the court, but that happens a lot. I mean, that's not unusual. I feel, as far as what I feel about this year, I'm more satisfied than I've ever been in any year that I've ever coached, with the possible exception of winning the year we won it all. But other than that year, I'm more excited about, I'm more proud and more happy, whatever the word is I'm looking for, satisfied with what this team has done than any year that I've ever coached. So I guess what my answer to your question is, I'm happier now at the end of this year than any time I've ever coached, and I'm really not that tired. I had 30 days off, so shoot, I could probably go another 30.
So we would appear that Jim Boeheim is coming back next year. I think he left no doubt this time.
This is what happens when you have out-of-towners starting to ask Jim Boeheim questions. He just doesn't like it. If you're not there every single day, you don't know that he gets asked that all the time, I guess.
All right, so that takes care of that. But for the Syracuse team in general, next season will be a little bit of an interesting one, as Michael Benachet and Trevor Cooney no longer going to be with this team. Malachi Richardson, been some talk about him going pro, certainly some question marks for next season.
Well, certainly. You look at the way that Trevor and Mike have been at Syracuse. Benachet played for the 2011 Duke team. He's sort of getting into that mode of being one of those forever in college players. It's going to be weird to see Syracuse without him, and those leave huge holes for Syracuse. The way that you have to see it, the best case scenario is that Malachi Richardson comes back because he's one of the three creators that this team has. Trevor Cooney's gone. Michael Benachet's gone. Where is it going to come from next year? And it has to come from Malachi, and you've got to think the two freshmen coming in that are highly touted, Tyus Battle and Matthew Moyer, they've got to provide something for Jim Boeheim's club. Possibly not Jim Boeheim's club, Mike Hopkins' club going forward.
We'll see if that happens. We won't hold our breath. Now to the game that's going to be happening here on Monday night. North Carolina against Villanova. Both teams won convincingly, and Syracuse didn't even get blown out. If you ask Oklahoma, they got blown out, losing big time to Villanova earlier in the night. But that should be an exciting one. North Carolina against Villanova should be fun here on Monday night.
What I like is the fact they're going to be scoring points in
Hey, how
final.
about that?
Oh my goodness! You mentioned Villanova blew the doors off of Oklahoma, but they nearly scored 100. North Carolina very efficient today, 83 points. They've got a big matchup going forward. With all of that, Oshefu against Bryce Johnson, Marcus Page against those guys. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, that does it for a wrap here for our Syracuse coverage from NRG Stadium in Houston at the Final Four. For JP, I'm Tim. Thanks for watching.